There'll be a chance for those that were not yet Mekadosh Levana this month of Ador Sheni to do so right after Ma'ariv here. There's a moon, and it's fair outside. In this week's Parsha of Tzav, the Torah goes into detail regarding the sacrifice of the Olah. The Olah was the Korban Tomid, the daily offering in the Beit HaMikdash. It was 365 days a year. And it was Baboker Erev, in the morning and evening, B'tzorayim. It was the first Korban in the morning, and it was the last Korban in of the day. Afterwards, the Beit HaMikdash was, so to speak, closed. There was a very clever rabbi that I knew in the United Kingdom who said that the recitation of Korbanot is the first sacrifice of the morning. So the Korban Olah is different than any of the other Korbanot because of the fact that no human being, so to speak, has a benefit from it. The man the Kohanim who offer it, they have no share in it. If someone donated an animal to be a Korban Olah, so the donor has also no benefit from it. Now, from other korbanot, even from a sin offering, a korban chatat or a korban hasham, there are people who benefit from it. The Kohanim, if he offers a korban shlomim, so then the owner, the one who donated it itself, he also has benefit from it. He can eat from it. The part of the meat belongs to him. And at the time of the Mikdash, this was one of the ways that people used to be able to have meat and food in their house, etc., etc. And the Kohanim, so to speak, made a living from it. The Kohanim had no other income. So the income came from the Beit HaMikdash, and it was an income in kind, not necessarily in money, but then they had the right to do what they want with it. They could sell the meat. It was a commercial enterprise. The Korban Olah was not like that at all. Korban Olah was completely consumed on the altar. And no one had any benefit from. So what's its purpose? What made the Korban Olah to be the Korban Tomid? Why didn't we say, for instance, the Korban Todah should be the Korban Tomid? That would resonate with us more. Thanksgiving offering. A person has to be thankful every day. Baruch Hashem, Yom Yom Yamos Lanu. So every day is a gift. So we say thank you. So that should be the Korban Tomid. That should be the Korban that represents us on a daily basis. Why does the Korban Olah represent us on a daily basis? And the Korban Olah is brought even when there are no other Korbanos. If we can imagine a day in the Beit HaMikdash where there were no other Korbanos, nobody brought a Korban Chatas, nobody brought a Korban Osham, nobody brought a Mincha, nobody brought anything. Yet the Korban Tomid had to be offered on every day of the year, and that was a Korban Olah. So the Meforshim discussed this in theory. I know that we are far removed from the idea of korbanot, And therefore it's hard for us to really grasp what the effect is and why the Torah devotes so much time to it, and why, for instance, for the majority of the history of the Jewish people, there have been no korbanot. So that's like a gaping hole in our service of God, right? And so we have the idea that tefillah substitutes for it. The Anshe Knesset Hagdolah already instituted a prayer as being the service. And then they instituted that prayer is also twice a day, basically. The Shachris and Mincha Maariv, and that is the makom of the Korban Tamid. And that also is on a regular basis, every day of the year, without exception. But the Meforshim talk about it in a more philosophical term. What's our basically? What is our purpose here? Why did God bother? If we can ask that question, why did He bother to create human beings? So the Meforshim say that the Ribono Shel Olam wanted Kaviyachol that there be a populated world, and that populated world should have a purpose. It should not be just a world at random. And the purpose, therefore, is that human beings are to emulate the Creator. They are to be, in Latin they called it imitatio Dei, to imitate God. And that's part of our tradition. Mahu rachum, afato rachum, mahu chanun, afato chanun. Most of the mitzvahs that are bein odom lachaveiro are a reflection of God's attributes: to heal the sick, to strengthen the bereaved, to help the downtrodden. Those are godly attributes. And human beings, by performing godly attributes, imitate the Creator. And in imitating the Creator, they, so to speak, have that attachment to the Creator which justifies their existence. And we therefore operate under those circumstances. Now the Novi says, so what's the purpose of the Jewish people? That's the purpose of humanity generally. The Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, that everybody is obligated. So that's an imitation of God. We don't kill, we don't steal, we're not immoral, we're not cruel. So all of that is an imitation of the Creator. And therefore that applies to all human beings. So then what are we chosen for? So the Navi Yeshayahu phrases it in one verse, in one pasuk. He says, Amzu yotzarti, tilosi yisaperu. I created this people special, so they should, in their behavior and in their actions, reflect my praise. People should be able to see that there is a God in the world and that their task is to serve that God through the existence of this people. We popularized the phrase by saying, to Kiddush Hashem. Kiddush Hashem is when a person does something extraordinarily good, when he does something extraordinarily positive, and especially when a Jew does so. When a Jew does something for the benefit of all of mankind, so we say that's a Kiddush Hashem. Why? Because that fulfills the purpose, so to speak, of Amzu Yotzarti. That's why I created you. I created you to be my representatives. Through you, humanity will realize what their obligations are. So the world should try and imitate you. Now we see throughout history that that's true. The other monotheistic religions are imitations, whether they are poor imitations or valid imitations is a matter of debate, but they're all imitations of Judaism. They're all imitations of Jewish ideas. And even those who claim not to be religious and not to believe anything, but they also ascribe to a moral code that basically is again an imitation of Judaism. So that's Tehilosei Yisaperu. Through you, my praise is throughout the world. And we say that Bayom Ahu Yeh Hashem Echad Shmo Echad, meaning that ultimately everybody will realize this. Not everybody's going to be Jewish. I mean, the world couldn't survive that way. But everybody will realize what the purpose of life is. And the purpose of life is Mo Hashem Elokecha Shoel Mimcha Ki Masos Mishpat Ve'avas Chesed Ve'atznei Aleches Im Elohecha. That's the purpose of life. So all of that is reflected in the Korban Olah, because in order for that purpose to exist, a person has to be able to say, it's not me, and it's not about me. I have to be willing to offer something for which I conceivably have no benefit. And that is the level of observance and of thought that the Torah demands from Jews. The famous Rebbe of Kotzker said, the Kotzker Rebbe said, Menachem Mendel Morgenstern, he used to say very sharp and extreme things to make the point. He said, even if I knew that for mitzvahs I would get Gehenim, and for Averas I would get Olam Haba, I would still do mitzvahs. Because that's the ultimate understanding of doing what's right, and not doing because of what we deem is rewarding or beneficial or profitable for us. So that's the concept of the Korban Olah. And this week's Parsha therefore goes into great detail about it, because that is representative of this idea that lies behind it, that the Olah was brought twice a day, every day of the year. Ola's Tomid or Asuya Bahar Sinai, and that is the purpose, the Reach Nichoach Lashem. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash Omer, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'Zaka Yisrael, V'fichach Hirba Lahem Torah and Mitzvot Shenemar, Adonai Chavei Tzaman Tzidko Yagdil, Torah V'Yadir.